Today I'm making corn casserole pudding my way. This is gonna be good. Okay, so here I'm going to make a Jiffy corn pudding my way, and one of the ingredients I like to add is bacon. So I'm gonna start with, this is 12 ounces of bacon going into a cold pan. Now I'm going to turn on the heat, and I'm just going to cook the bacon and render out most of the fat. So once the bacon is done, I'm going to put it on this plate with a paper towel just so it can kind of soak up any residual grease. Whoops. Now I'm going to remove the bacon from the grease. By the way, reserve the grease. It makes a great addition to flour tortillas, or to help you start a roux for maybe something like cream gravy. Okay, so I'm going to reserve my bacon grease. Here we go. Just pour it into a heat-proof dish. Here I have the fresh corn kernels from 3 cobs of corn, and all I did was just cut away the kernels from the cob. I'd say about 1.5 cups of fresh corn kernels works. So I'm using the same pan that I cooked the bacon in. It had a little bit of the bacon drippings, and I'm just going to saute and cook the kernels. Get the rest of that in there. There we go. I'm going to cook this for about 5 minutes in a little bit of the bacon drippings. Once the corn is done, I'm just going to place it back into my bowl. And you'll probably want to let it cool before you add it to your batter. So here in my large bowl, I'm going to be using 4 eggs in this recipe. I'm going to add 1 can of cream style corn. Here I have 1 cup of sour cream. I'm going to be using 1 box of Jiffy corn muffin mix. Add that in there. I'm also going to add 1 stick of butter melted. I'm going to actually scrape that out. Here I have about it's 1.5 cups of cheese. Just add it all in. I'm going to really just start dumping all the ingredients in here and just make a big mess. Okay, so you could also add a drained can of sweet corn. I'm going to add my fresh corn that I quickly sauteed in the bacon drippings. And you can give it a mix. Now, essentially with the ingredients that I've added, you have a really nice, corn pudding, Jiffy corn casserole, mix. But I'm going to add my bacon. This was the chopped bacon that I cooked. And this is 1.5, you could add 1 or 2 diced jalapenos. I removed the seeds and gave it a chop. And if you hear noise, that's my kids playing. Oh, it already smells great. So now I'm just going to whisk and mix for about 5 minutes. You could also do this with your electric mixer. Here I have a baking pan. 12 by 8 should work for this. And I'm gonna add maybe a tablespoon and a half of my bacon grease and just grease your baking pan. You could also use some softened butter if you prefer, but why not? Bacon grease works great. Okay, so now I'm going to pour my cornbread casserole corn pudding mixture. And I gotta tell you, this smells amazing. This is probably my favorite way to make this. I know for holiday dinners, people, you know, just add the corn. Maybe some people add the cheese. Some people don't add cheese, but I like fresh jalapeno with the bacon and the corn. It just works for me. Okay, so that's in. I'm going to bake this in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 minutes or until it's still a little jiggly and it's kind of like crusty golden brown on the edges. Okay, so it has been about 45 minutes. Yeah, that's done. I'm gonna take that out. Okay, so this is just golden brown, fluffy, light deliciousness. I'm gonna let this set for 10 minutes and then I'm gonna cut into it and show you just how tender and moist this corn casserole slash corn pudding my way is. Okay, so while that is setting, here I have some honey that is starting to crystallize, and I'm just going to make this honey butter drizzle to go on top of the corn casserole. That's optional. Somebody, you know, you guys might think that is a weird thing to add to this, but I love it. The smoky flavor from the bacon, and I'm having such, there it goes. And the jalapeno, the spice and heat from the jalapeno, just, it's just so good. There it goes. Here we go, like 2 tablespoons I think works. I'm making such a big mess. Let's do this. Okay, and you're just gonna let that melt down and gently simmer. You're really not going to boil the honey, so once it starts to kind of melt the butter, you're good to go. Oh my gosh. Perfect. I want you to see the bottom, how it gets like this golden brown, crusty texture. The fresh corn, the bacon. It's just so good. Right on top. This just looks amazing. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.